All right. Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting of June 6, 2017. Please note that all council members are present for the special Municipal Building Authority meeting. With that, I'm going to turn the time over to Trustee Heyer. Did I do that okay?
Works okay for me.
Vice Chair Heyer to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Thank you, Chair White. It's our pleasure to recognize Jake Whelan from Troop 270. He is here working on some things. He'll tell us about that in a little bit, but he's going to come up and lead the audience in the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Jake, would you come up now? Do it right at the microphone right there.
Everyone, please stand. Please take off any unofficial headgear. If any scouts are here, please do the scout salute and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before you go, don't run off. Jacob, you got to come up too. Sorry. We have a Jake and a Jacob. So, Jake, why don't you tell us what you're working on here tonight?
So we're both working on the citizenship and the community merit badge, and we're thankful for you letting us be here. And we just wanted to see how our city is maintained.
Great.
Thanks.
Jacob?
So some other merit badges that we're working on are, so I'm working on citizenship in the nation, and we're both working on family life.
Great. Thanks for being here,
Great.
you guys look good in your uniforms. Thanks your leaders for bringing you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Please take a moment of silence with me. Thank you. Next on our agenda is a public hearing item, the fiscal year 2018 budget. Ms. Eller-Smith.
Chair White and trustees, it's good to be here tonight. We only get to do this once a year, where I get to call you trustees. Tonight you're considering approval of the Municipal Building Authority FY18 budget. Municipal Building Authority was created in 1992, and its primary purpose is to acquire, improve, or extend projects and to provide financing. The budget is pretty simple. It's only $549,000. The change over FY17 is $1,350. The revenues are comprised of interest and lease payments for the Public Works Building and the Raptor Stadium, and the expenses are related to debt service on those properties, trust fees, and insurance. That's the total of the budget. So I don't know if you have any questions for me. And the recommendation from staff is that you approve the Municipal Building Authority budget for FY18. Thank you.
Any questions before she sits down?
I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Trustee Blair to open the public hearing. This is a time that anybody that wants to come up and talk about the Municipal Building Authority budget, they are more than welcome to come up.
Seeing no movement,
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing for the fiscal year budget for the Municipal Building Authority.
Second.
Motion by trustee Garner and second by Vice Chair Heyer to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's been closed.
And Chair White, with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2017-1, adopting the budget of the Municipal Building Authority.
I second it.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Stevens to adopt the proposed resolution 2017-1. This is a roll call vote.
Trustee Blair?
Aye.
Trustee Gardner?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Trustee Nadolski?
Aye.
Trustee Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye, that passes. All right.
Just a quick comment that was made so easy by all of the work that was done by a lot of folks, and the same comment will apply to a lot of these items maybe tonight, but I've asked a lot of questions in the work session, and just want to appreciate all the staff that helped us tee that up. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding any concerns or ideas on any topic. If you would like to, come up and state your name, and you will be given 3 minutes to talk. And I think you said if you wanted to wait, or you wanted to come up now?
Go ahead right now.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay. First of all, my name is Zach. I gotta adjust this a little bit. My name is Zachary Bray. This is my mother, Cindy Bray. I'm a 22-year-old senior at University of Utah, and I'm an employee as well as a volunteer for our local youth. Apart from 2 years out of state, I've lived in Ogden my entire life. My two older siblings and I received a public school education through Wasatch Elementary, Mount Ogden Junior High, and Ogden High School. And this is an education I'm proud of and a city I'm proud of. My mother, Cindy, has worked with local youth since 1990. If you say her name or that you know Cindy, you'll know of the immense amount of dedication she's given to our local youth, and I think it's fair to say that she's made a lot of sacrifice for the city as well. My father couldn't be in attendance tonight. He's just turning 73 next week, but he does face some difficulties as a 100% disabled veteran from Vietnam. And the reason why I give you guys details about my parents and myself is I think it's people like us that make Ogden great, the small contributions and how we can. But anyway, we've had problems with, since May of 2014, the Pie Pizzeria moved directly below our house. We live right over by Smith's on like 4275. And anyway, they built a 2,000 square foot patio where they'd have live music and, people would come and drink beer and have pizza, and it would actually get pretty loud. Anyway, we weren't worried because originally we addressed the landowner, Mr. Nesbitt, and he assured us that he'd build all necessarily sound traffic and light barriers in order to be a good neighbor. And according to code 1538.3, he had to. This code states, whenever development abuts property in a residential zone, screening is required to protect residential properties from the impact of lights, noise, and increased pedestrian and automobile traffic, invasions of privacy, and physical intrusions on property. Mr. Nesbitt promised to build a barrier right to my mother's face while shaking her hand. He didn't mean a single word of it. From the moment of construction, everything went downhill. Even as the required barrier and fence were never built, the Pie Pizzeria made changes such as not allowing delivery semis to idle their engines early in the morning and ceasing the live music on the patio, which helped considerably. And also, I kind of make a quick note that we've had Harrison Boulevard there before, and it really wasn't too much noise. We've never had problems with our neighbors whatsoever. Anyway, the Pie Pizzeria complied with requests and their control to fix an easily fixable situation. The landowner, Brad Nesbitt, however, has been allowed to avoid city ordinance, in which that's all it would take to fix the situation. He recently told my mother he would never comply with the ordinances unless the city made him. It took filing a lawsuit and an article by the Standard Examiner to bring all parties to the negotiation table in August of 2015, close to 2 years ago. After this, Brad Nesbitt agreed to building the necessary barrier as per city ordinance due to the extension of the patio. The city planner was nearly an hour late to this meeting of all parties in their parking lot. However, it is my understanding he witnessed Mr. Nesbitt agreeing to build the barrier and fence. And everybody left happy. The owners of the Pie Pizzeria left happy. We left happy. Mr. Nesbitt even seemed happy. Yeah, that was nearly 2 years ago, and after much back and forth, about 3 weeks ago, he told my mother I won't do this is quotation, I won't do a single thing unless the city makes me, which is why I'm here pleading with you today. Until now, it seems Mr. Nesbitt has been attempting to bleed us dry because the city has not yet taken action. It's worth noting that we have paid for our attorney through my dad's disabled veterans benefits and Social Security. We should not need the press to accomplish building this barrier and fence. We just need you to enforce the laws of our municipality. And a meeting with Mayor Caldwell would go a really long way. We've been communicating with his secretary, Cynthia, but we would really like to set that up, Mayor.
Great.
Thank you.
One question. Did you say what was your address?
It's 1261 East, 4275 South.
Mr. Nadowski, I think you've been.
I think I knocked on your door, didn't I?
In our living room.
We
yeah.
talked, at length about it.
And just so you know, I've asked him to speak during this time just so that he didn't have to wait through.
yeah.
So I just wanted you all to know that there was a reason.
Works. Thanks.
Would there be an opportunity for him to meet the mayor?
I was going to turn over a comment to the mayor, or if you would.
There's always an opportunity. Would be happy to set that up. I need to do some background work. I haven't heard a lot about it, but I'm happy to pull all of our internal people together, and then we'll pull a meeting and have you guys come in and let you know what we think our options are.
Okay, that'd be tremendous. Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you all very much.
Any other public comment? Comments from the president?
Nothing at this time, thanks.
Other trustees?
Just want to thank the mayor for taking the meeting with my constituent. I know I did sit in your living room, we did talk about it, and I definitely empathize with your challenges. This is the first I've heard of it in quite some time too. But so thank you, administration, for looking into it. Appreciate it.
Happy to do it.
And I just want to make a comment. It's always tough to get up in front of us, so I'm glad you were able to do so. Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Trustee Blair to adjourn the Municipal Building Authority meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right. Well, good evening and welcome to the Special Redevelopment Agency meeting of June 6, 2017. Please note that all board members are present at this time. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. This is of the joint session of January 10th, 2017. Board Member Nadolski.
Thank you, Chair White. I've reviewed those minutes and they appear accurate, and I make a motion that we approve those minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Nadolski, second by Board Member Garner to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And then next on our agenda is public hearings for the fiscal year 2018 budget. Ms. Eller-Smith.
Chair White, board members, thank you for letting me present the FY18 budget to you tonight. The budget originally proposed by the executive director was $17.2 million, and that was a change of $840,000 from the FY17 budget. The primary reason for the reduction in the RDA budget as proposed was the expiration of two RDAs. That was the West 12th Economic Development Area and the Hinckley Drive Economic Development Area. This shows the components of the RDA budget and as it compares to the FY17 budget and the original proposed FY18 budget. The RDA board has a budget of its own. We did increase that this year, and we use that to cover travel and training for the board. Sometimes in the past, we have sometimes covered all of training and travel with the city budget, and we felt like we would pay a little more attention and use funds from the board when it's appropriate and training's appropriate. So that's why we increased that amount for the board. RDA administration increased $668,000 as proposed. That 1.4 million that was proposed in the FY18 budget, 687,000 of it is for general administration that gets paid to the city for services that are provided by city staff in the administration of the RDA, and 700,000 of that goes to the housing fund, so that's a transfer out to the housing fund. With the revenues, tax increment, that's money generated from property tax within the various districts. That amount reduction of $2 million, again, primarily due to the expiration of those two RDAs. And then the additional housing fund money, there was an increase there. And that housing fund money can be used anywhere, and it's required by state law for some of the districts to provide 20% of their revenues to go towards housing. So the good news about the decrease in the tax increment is with those expiring RDAs means that that property tax that has been going to the RDA can now be distributed to the various taxing entities. And of course, the city, Ogden City, is one of those taxing entities. And the administration estimated that the city should get about $350,000 in additional property tax from those expiring RDAs. The process that we've reviewed for the board for the redevelopment agency's budget, on May 16th, you accepted for review, and we set the public hearing for tonight. We had a work session on the 23rd to review and discuss the RDA budget. And then, of course, tonight we have the public hearing. One of the reasons why we don't end up spending a lot of time on the redevelopment agency budget is because most of the funds that are come to the RDA are programmed from the very beginning or the creation of the RDA through development agreements or contractual agreements with developers. And that's why it's really just a true-up and a check-in to make sure that those funds are being expended in the way that they were programmed. And we're fortunate to have a great accounting staff that does those checks for us. The RDA is comprised of 17 project areas for FY18. Those are 12 redevelopment areas, one community development area, and one urban renewal area. Those are name changes or because of changes in the law that occurred over the years. They are all essentially redevelopment areas. And then 3 economic development areas, which are areas that are created for economic development purposes, and the primary difference is that there were not eminent domain provided for in those areas. We do have a proposed change or a proposed amendment to the FY18 proposed budget, an increase of $3.1 million. And that the primary key changes are a transfer from BDO infrastructure to the River RDA to purchase property, a transfer from BDO to the track line to purchase property, and a transfer from the 25th Street RDA to the track line to also enhance that property purchase budget. That $912,000 from the 12th Street or from the 25th Street RDA is not new money. You may recall that that was appropriated by the board several months ago for demolition of the Twinkie building. But because of some changes and some needs that have changed, the administration requested that that funding be transferred to the track line to facilitate the property purchase and remediation in that area. So this outlines the proposed changes in more detail. The Schedule A that is included with the budget. 25th Street amendments, that's $912,000. The reason it shows up in the budget is that had it not, it would have normally come through in a year-end adjustment, but they're doing it now. And then Ogden River, that's the $240,000 for property purchase and track line of just over $2 million for a net change of $3,189,000. So this is the all of the components again showing where the changes are, and again that overall change of 18.5%, $3.1 million, almost 3.2. And so it's staff's recommendation that you adopt the FY18 budget as amended by the Schedule A. So with that, if you wonder if you have any other questions.
Any questions?
You mentioned this was not new money that's been
The
generated.
$912,000 is not new money. That was appropriated originally into the 25th Street. The other funding that's coming from BDO, that is new money that's going into it. And what you will see is it was originally programmed to go into the city budget. And so when we review the city tentative budget, we'll actually reducing the city budget by that amount and instead putting it in, so instead of going into the city budget, it's going into the RDA.
Any of those RDAs going to expire in the near future? In the ones that are still not expired?
Yes, there are, let me see if I have that handy. 2 more expiring this year.
Page 4.
So there's the 2 that expired in 2016, and there are 2 more that will expire in 2017. Let's see if I can find those really quick for you. Sorry, I had it outlined on a separate piece of paper, and I can't put my hand on it.
And that's okay. I was just, I mean, that it's nice when we see the money coming back after an expiration, so.
Yeah, so I know that there's 2 more that will be expiring in 2017. American Can is one of them. And, sorry, I can't find the other one real quickly, but.
And that's okay. I just,
Okay.
I just.
Yeah,
I
there
guess
will be
that-
2 more coming on
Yeah.
in FY17, or in 2017,
American
calendar
Can
year.
and BDO?
BDO is not till 2019.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second?
I have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Nadolski to open the public hearing regarding anything related to the RDA budget. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the public hearing is open if you want to come up and talk about the RDA budget.
Seeing no movement, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Blair to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the public hearing is closed. Motion.
I'll make a motion then that we adopt the Resolution 2017-2 adopting the budget for the redevelopment agency for fiscal year 2017-18.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Blair to adopt proposed resolution 2017-2. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Blair.
Aye.
Board Member Garner.
Aye.
Board Member Lopez.
Aye.
Board Member Nadolski.
Aye.
Board Member Stevens.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. All right, next on the agenda is comments from the Executive Director.
Public comment?
Oh, my gosh, yes, let's try public comment. Next on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity to come up and address anybody regarding anything. All right. Now comments from the Executive Director.
Nothing at this time, thanks.
Board members. All right. Any other comments? Board Member Nadolski? No?
Same comment I made in the
All
MOU.
right.
Thanks.
So we are going to, next on our agenda is a closed executive session.
Chair White, I would make a motion that we move into a closed executive session.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Blair to go into the closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Gardner.
Aye.
Board Member Lopez.
Aye.
Board Member Nadolski.
Aye.
Board Member Stevens.
Aye.
Board Member Blair.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye. We'll be moving into the closed executive session, so if you want to hang out and wait for us, we'll be back for the regular scheduled city council meeting after that. All right, welcome back to the regular RDA meeting. Next on the agenda is adjournment. Motion.
Right, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Blair to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Crowd is dwindling. All right, welcome to the City Council meeting of June 6, 2017. Please note that all council members are present. We have a common consent item.
Chair White, I'll move that we adopt the items listed under common consent A, B, C, and D to set the public hearings and to adopt the resolutions.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner, second by Councilmember Blair to adopt A, B, C, and D. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Next on the agenda is a public hearing for the fiscal year 2018 tentative budget. Ms. Eller-Smith.
Chair White, council members, we're here tonight to consider adoption of the city's FY18 tentative budget. As proposed by the mayor, the FY18 budget was down $14 million, and that was due primarily because there was some bond revenues that came in FY17 of $17 million. So that's why there was such a big change from 17 to 18. The key changes in the proposed tentative budget included a proposed property tax increase, which we estimate to be somewhere between 2% and 4%. We won't actually know until we receive that certified tax rate from the county in the next couple of weeks. It included step increases for public safety employees, salary adjustments for non-public safety employees, and merit increases for non-public safety employees. Our budget review process is always more in depth on the city budget because of the size and complexity. On May 2nd, you accepted the tentative budget for review, and on May 16th, we set the public hearing on that tentative budget for tonight. We've had 3 work sessions since then. Normally, we would have 5, but at your request, we crunched those down to 2, or 3, so that made some late nights for a couple of nights. But I think that we got done what you needed to get done. And of course, tonight we have the public hearing and final action on the tentative budget. You do have a Schedule A of proposed changes to the proposed tentative budget, and these are summarized here. The difference of $3,800 in the general fund is for additional printing for planning and some additional money for special meetings. There's also a moving graffiti removal costs from non-departmental and putting that in public services, but that was a net zero effect on the general fund. For the capital improvement fund, there's a decrease of almost $1.4 million. This is for purchase of property in the RDA, and as we discussed when we just reviewed the RDA budget, this is that decrease, and the increase showed up in the RDA budget. There's a change in BDO infrastructure. It's a net zero change, but instead of putting that money, 1.365 into the CIP, it was transferred to the RDA. And there's also changes to the major grants fund, a decrease of $40,000. This is just a true up to the annual action plan budget. So that means there's a decrease, overall decrease from the proposed tentative budget, from the mayor's proposed tentative budget to of $1.4 million to the now proposed tentative budget. So one of the things that we as staff did as we went through the tentative budget was to sort of look for areas where the council's priorities were being met. The first is in promoting active and healthy living, just highlighting that park property expansion. Even though that's expending in the RDA, it is BDO, lease revenue funds, and increased money for trails and trailheads, and of course Gold Foundation and some scoreboards for the city fields. Fostering neighborhoods and community building. I mentioned Ogden Can initiative. There's no funding set aside for that in the budget, but we do have several staff members, both on the council and the administrative side, that are working with Weber State to kind of get that initiative up and running. Neighborhood grant program funding at $10,000. This is a council initiative in hopes of offering up some funding to create that community building that we'd like to see happen in our neighborhoods. The Quality Neighborhoods money of $1 million, which the council agreed to appropriate over a period of 5 years, $1 million a year for 5 years. So that $1 million for this year is in there. Also funding for D school housing project. Multimodal transportation option, that's something that both the administration and the council have been very interested in supporting. And I just want to highlight the sidewalk program funding. As you know, our Public Works Director tells us we have a $20 million deficit in deferred maintenance for our sidewalks. And so while $645,000 doesn't seem a lot of money towards $20 million, it's a lot more than we've been able to put in it before. And that's due a lot to the transportation money that came through the gas tax increases. With the street repair and construction, it also doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I know that as funding comes available, through funds that the county controls, that tax money, that the administration applies for that as needed. Those will be added to the budget when that funding becomes available. And community outreach and engagement, again, a big priority for the council. Just highlighting, that we give money to Visit Ogden. The initial increase for $3,800 for planning doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it goes a lot of way to increasing that outreach to citizens when there's zoning and land use changes in their neighborhoods. The technology upgrades to the workroom and chambers, that is not a line item in the budget. We hope through our council budget to pay for some of that through savings by leaving a position open. It's something that we're really looking forward to as staff to bring this room and the workroom up to technological standards. And then fiscal sustainability and transparency. Again, the council's been very proactive in this, and so there's money to continue with the comprehensive financial sustainability model. This is the 5-year planning model for the general fund that we started last year and are continuing this year. Payment on the ERP system, which includes the transparency module. That's a couple of years out before it will be actually up and running. But I think that ERP system is going to make a big difference for the directors and division managers in helping them manage those funds and looking for those cost savings that the council is so interested in hoping that happens. Utility rate study will be paid through the water utility. I just put an estimate of $75,000 because we didn't have a bid from our financial advisors yet. That's what we paid 5 years ago when we initially started the process. But again, it's a good way of taking a look at what we're charging for our services for the utilities and making sure that our citizens are getting the best bang for their buck. Public safety and other essential services, lots of money going to fire and police, 2 ambulances, public defenders, and of course a lot of money for infrastructure, which is sort of the core services that the city provides. And although this wasn't highlighted as a priority for the council, I just wanted to point out that the city is very strong supporter of the arts and puts a lot of money towards arts and culture in our community. One of the things that was important to the council was to highlight cost-saving measures. And so I'm sure that there's a lot more than this, but these are some that we as staff were able to glean from the presentations that directors made in our budget discussions. In-house engineering services, you may recall in FY17 we hired 3 new engineers to start doing design and project management in-house as opposed to paying consultants to do that. And engineering estimated that that's a $286,000 net savings in FY17. That's going to be ongoing savings as we continue year over year. So that's a significant cost-saving measure that I think was made. Saw cutting concrete, our city engineer indicates that that's 1/3 to 1/2 cost of full replacement. Again, because of the issues that we have with our sidewalks, this will allow us to do a lot more with the money that we have and with still getting really acceptable results. Fire chief indicated that he's able to staff an ambulance without adding new staff, just using some creative way of using his resources for $340,000 net savings. Of course, we continue improving our remote meter reading, working on a facilities energy audit, and as I mentioned, that ERP will identify future cost savings. The council, after discussing and working through all of our work sessions, did determine that they would entertain a truth and taxation hearing. And so we will have some additional work sessions related to the budget. We will have a work session June 27th, and our financial advisors will be here. By that time, we should have the certified tax rate from the county, which means that we can actually have some real numbers. To date, as the model's been presented for FY18, it's just been estimates and assumptions on what would come forward. So that will be helpful for the council to be able to see that actual number and what will take, and then some hard decisions will have to be made. We will have another work session on August 1st. And then one thing that we're doing differently this year, normally we've just had one public hearing with our final budget. We've added 2 additional public hearings. These are 2 additional opportunities for council members, for citizens to come and address the council on concerns or issues that they see with the budget. And then, of course, you'll take final action on August 8th. We've got some fun things towards communication that we've been talking about as staff, and there'll be more coming with that to encourage and provide other options for public input for our citizens. So the FY18 amended tentative budget looks like this as compared to the FY18 proposed, slightly lower because of that transfer from the CIP to the RDA. So it is recommended that by staff that you adopt the tentative budget with Schedule A Schedule A amendments, and also would like suggest that you also include that staffing document with the amended tentative budget. It is included with the final budget, but in your packets it was not included with the tentative budget. And given what we learned from the work session, that it includes some name changes for 3 positions, that would be important to include with and adopted with the tentative budget. So I don't know if you have any other questions for me.
Questions?
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you again for teeing that up. I know we've asked you guys a ton of questions in the weeks preceding today's meeting. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very proactive of you to add those extra public hearings in the middle. Okay, I will make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Garner to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This is an opportunity to get up and talk about the budget.
Seeing no movement, I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Motion by Councilmember Garner, second by Vice Chair Heyer to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
And with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt the proposed resolution adopt 2017-1 for the fiscal year tentative budget with the Schedule A and the staffing document.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Garner, second by Councilmember Lopez to adopt as stated. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye, that passes. Another year down.
It seems like maybe this is a flat budget. Is that what we can determine in that aspect there?
But it seems as though, not very.
I like Councilmember Heyer that we've added those public hearings so that the public can really understand what the process is all about.
The nice thing I think about it is we can get that public input and still have some time to do something about it if there's a need. Whereas if we heard this as from a citizen just before we adopted it, that it would, and we had to adopt that night, it would be difficult to make any changes.
Thank you again to the staff who put in tireless hours and make, again, our job much easier. So, and the one thing I did really appreciate is that you pointed out the cost savings, because I think we just think that we just spend without really looking at the efficiency. So I appreciated that. All right, public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council on any issue or any ideas.
Kathy, you want to say anything?
She will later.
All right, comments from the mayor.
Sure, just one thing really quick. I appreciated, Janine, the slide on Ogden Arts. The 10-day period we have in Ogden going on right now is pretty unique. With Twilight started last Thursday, then it went to the car show on Friday night, then OFOM on Saturday, then Twilight again, and the Arts Festival is this Saturday. So there's plenty to do in this 10-day window, and encourage everybody to get downtown and really enjoy it. Thank you.
Comments from council members.
I echo what the mayor said. I think the arts add a lot of character and culture to our community, and we can all enjoy that. But also, I was intrigued with the car show that was on 25th Street. There had to be every make and model and year cars there. But a lot of people participated in that, and the restaurants along 25th Street and around the area benefited from that event.
Judging.
It was great. Just to echo what Councilmember Stevens said, you know, as a judge, which was my honor to do that for the council, you really had to take your time to not just look at the cars, but talk to some of the owners, see how much time they truly spent and invested in restoring some of these vehicles. And that's part of what I enjoyed with the car show.
Did your car win?
It's not an overall winner. You just choose who you want to, get your award. But it was well attended by citizens, and it was, you could tell they were having fun.
Nice night, a lot of people out. Any other comments?
Parking was a premium.
I'll make a comment. I already thanked the staff, many times for helping this. It's a long process to get us to here. We still have more to come and more decisions to come. But I just want to thank the administration. I think this has been a good collaborative process, and we've had great conversations. And I think collaboration leads to better results. And I think we have a good culture of collaboration here, and really appreciate that.
And I want to publicly thank our public services department. And I'm on a street where they're doing a lot of tearing up, and after having garlic potatoes last night and not being able to brush my teeth, I realized that these guys were out still working and I was going to bed. So I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. And even though it's a little dirty and dusty right now, I really appreciate all that you're doing. So that I could brush my teeth this morning. So, any other things? All right. Next on the agenda is the closed executive session.
Chair White, I would make a motion that we adjourn into a closed executive session.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Garner to go into the closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gardner.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. We will go into the closed executive session and we will adjourn from there. So thank you for joining us tonight.
I didn't think it'd be a